So let me welcome you to the 2025 conference, Neuroimmune Medicine Conference. For more than a decade now, the Institute has been at the forefront of raising awareness about neuroinflammatory illnesses. Our multidisciplinary team, which consists of scientists and clinicians, and I'm going to say a special thing about our clinicians, because most of you that are patients have experienced modern medicine as a siloed medicine where you go to a doctor who sends you to 5 other doctors with 5 different specialties. We don't do that. As much as we can possibly do it, we take care of the whole patient. We have a whole patient perspective, which is why you'll see in our clinic that we have mostly integrative and functional medicine doctors, then people like me, a clinical immunologist, Irma, environmental medicine. So we have the specialties that we need within our group to do it all as much as we possibly can, shy of procedures and things. And then we're housed in an osteopathic college, amazing KP-Com, which has not just a whole body approach, an osteopathic principle, but serving the underserved, which is the core principle of our college. And I'm going to say that the diseases we treat are underserved. Those of you that have ever tried to find someone that knew anything about ME/CFS or long COVID or toxic injury, you can't find your providers. So I perceive that not just a socioeconomically underserved group, but a medically underserved group. So I couldn't be prouder of what we have created here at this perfect college for us in this great university. And I went off text. Sorry about that. Anyway, take care of toxic injuries, ME/CFS, and long COVID. We do translational research, which means the scientists can discover things and we can move it into clinical trial and clinical practice. That is also an unusually amazing thing when someone with a PhD can have a vision and see the whole team move it all the way to the point where it makes a real difference in people's lives. So it's exciting. So today we welcome our James Beard Foundation award-winning chef, Michelle Bernstein, and she's our keynote speaker. I also have a little fangirl thing going on, so excuse me. She was born and raised here in Miami. She is of Jewish and Latina descent, which really gives her special perspectives in the culinary world, and also in her amazing community service to our community. She's one of those people that doesn't forget who she is and where she comes from. Paving the ways for bright Latin flavors and standout ingredients is in her lively and vibrant cuisine. Chef Bernstein's style melds taste experiences from her travels around the world into her signature style of exciting and eclectic cooking. These days, her schedule is more jam-packed than ever, juggling multiple projects with her husband and business partner, David Martinez. Together, they own and operate Michelle Bernstein Catering, developing incredible menus for catering events, large and small, from intimate dinners in private homes to elaborate corporate events. As a culinary tastemaker, Chef Bernstein is often sought out to collaborate and counsel on other restaurants and corporate chefs in menu and concept development. A large part of her mission is to champion improved community health through the power of food and nutrition, the theme of today's event. Additionally, she shares her personal story as a patient with an autoimmune condition to empower other people living with conditions to continue looking at all available options to address their pain. So what the schedule today is, because we'd like to be uninterrupted while she is speaking, is that we'll invite everyone to go to the buffet first, and then she'll speak. So those of you on Zoom, it's your time to go get your cup of tea and a little snack. And those of you here, we have a beautiful buffet set up here. You'll notice all around the buffet table that those are original Dali paintings for Hispanic Heritage Month. They're all owned by the library's own collection from the amazing donors that help support this university.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be here. I have to tell you, I walked into this incredible university and I just felt good. I felt a word that we use in Yiddish called b'sher, and I felt warmth. So I don't know if it came from you. I don't know if it comes from the building. Must be very well built. But it just feels really good to be here. I've always been a fan of this university, and I have a lot of friends that graduated here in the law school. And now I am becoming a huge fan of the medical community in this school. I wish I knew about it a bit ago, but now I'm going to take absolute advantage of all the people that I'm meeting today. As a chef, I was a little nervous coming up to talk, I have to be honest with you, because I'm not going to teach anything medically, obviously, that you don't know. I'm not going to teach anything about maybe a better lifestyle, but what I did want to talk to you was a bit about why I'm such a mashuga, why I'm a little bit crazy about food, maybe more than nutrition, although food is nutritious, I know. Believe it or not, I actually went to college and studied biochemistry and nutrition in college, and I kind of forgot about all that a while ago. And I was a ballerina from the time I was 3 until the time I was 19. I joined a company in New York. I left Miami and I danced with Albanese, and I was not in a traveling group. I was too young and I wasn't as good as the big time dancers there, but they did accept me. And I learned to stop eating, which was never good, right? And I've learned, and I'll tell you about my journey, but a lot of my journey was starving myself. Not to the point of, skin and bones. I actually feel like because I didn't eat enough and because I haven't eaten enough, caused my metabolism to completely stop. And I know that, according to quite a few doctors that I've spoken to here and other places, that I do have bad genes. So that I can't fight that. Yes, I have bad genes. I have great hair genes. I have lovely curly hair. And I have a big mouth, which, I guess works for me on television. But other than that, I've got some things that work against me. So I wrote some things down because sometimes I get a little nervous and I end up talking fast. So I need to just, if I start talking fast, somebody give me like a little, slow it down. So I wrote some things. I really wanted to go off the cuff, but I wrote some things that I really wanted to get through to everyone, to maybe give you a hint as to where I am today and why I am how I am, why I eat the way I do, and why I cook the way I do, which is really why you all are here, is because if you do know me, you know that this is my whole life. So I have spent a whole career on feeding other people, and we're talking about a career that spans about 30 years now. I've dedicated it to perfect not only my own cuisine, not other people's, obviously, my own cuisine and dishes for the likes of people literally from ages 2 up to most recently 102, which made me very happy. And I really think that I can heal the world with my chicken soup recipe. I mean, what Jewish girl does this, right? I cook everything. And I love what I do. I do have a bit of an issue though. Nothing is ever good enough. None of my dishes. My family, whatever they do is perfect. Whatever my son does, he's brilliant. However, none of my dishes are perfect as far as I'm concerned. I do, get wonderful people, incredible people that follow my recipes for holidays and things like that. But for me, this is the kind of person I am and have become. It will never, ever be good enough. But I have learned throughout the years to begin to love myself, which is part of this path that I will talk to you about. So, I've cooked in insanely upscale restaurants. We were stuffing foie gras and squab into something called caul fat pigskin and roasted it beautifully and sliced it to everyone from leaders of many foreign countries to some of my favorite people in the world. The Clintons, the Obamas, to many famous actors and playwrights and writers. I also had a chicken shack that fed over 500, fried chicken sandwiches a day. So, I love to go from up to down and everywhere around. So today I own 6 restaurants with my hubby, David, and we're about to open our 7th. I heard it was this month, but I can't imagine it's going to be ready. I hope it's not. So, I love meeting all types of people. Most importantly, I love mentoring people. that's really what my career has become, that of a mentor. I mean, yes, I still work and I still cook. People ask me, do you still cook? Yes, I still cook. I still cook in the restaurants. I come up with almost all of the recipes. I wish I didn't, but sadly I do. I'd like other people to give me recipes. They just never seem to for some reason. So I work, I don't know, maybe 80 to 90 hours a week. Is that a lot? Anyway, and I enjoy every bit of it. I still do it. I adore it. I am now in my mid to early 50s, and I think I'm mostly proud of the dozens of people that have now become chefs under my tutelage, which is pretty wonderful. I stay in touch with most of them, and if you all mentor, I know that you must feel how proud it is, right? Almost like having a child that has gone on and do wonderful things. I have a 14-year-old, so I don't know that yet, but has gone on, and left the nest and done wonderful things. That is how I think of the kids that I have mentored. So the ideas are still flowing, and I'm still going. So I've been lucky to shift my styles and my creativity to create food for things like you'd never believe. So I used to be the chef for Delta Airlines, and I used to create in-flight meals for Delta. If you had it and didn't like it, I don't need to hear it. It's really hard to make food that's good in an airplane, especially when someone turns on the oven the second you take off in a plane, and then it turns into, I don't even want to tell you, the cardboard that it must turn into when you eat it. I create bites for the American Express Lounge at the airport, called the Centurion Lounge. Believe it or not, I was hired by Lean Cuisine a few years ago. They wanted to have a little bit more chef-inspired meals. I don't know if you know, the people that work for a lot of these frozen food companies, they're all amazing scientists, food chemists, but they really are not, chefs or cooks, really. I don't even know if they eat their own food at home. They are so scientifically programmed, it's unbelievable, and they're geniuses. However, they needed a little love, right? They needed a little creativity, so they brought me in, and it was pretty amazing. And they ended up buying 4 or 5 kale farms by the time I was done working with them, because I taught them about, the important nutritional qualities of kale, but also that can actually be delicious. Don't make them taste it. It really can. And I now work with Cosentyx. So Cosentyx is my drug for my psoriatic arthritis. About a year and a half ago, I realized that I couldn't get up from bed on my own. And the pain was so bad in all of the joints in my feet, my ankles, and my knees that my husband had to help me up. It ended up when I started dropping things at the restaurant, and I couldn't hold a pot or pan anymore. And that's when you would think that it would be, I can't get to the bathroom by myself, but it really took me dropping the pots and pans at work to realize that something was wrong. I thought it was age. I thought it was menopause. It ended a long time ago. Sorry to the men that don't find that interesting. But it turns out I do. I had a pretty significant bout of psoriatic arthritis. So at the time, I wish I would have turned to diet, but I did turn to medicine, which a lot of us do, right? And Cosentyx has been my drug of choice, at least right now it is, and it's been amazing. And I actually do commercials now with Cindy Lauper. And it's just been amazing to be able to now teach people anti-inflammatory diet and the importance of it and how it's changed my life now. And guess what? I lift every cast iron in my home and in my restaurant. So one of the most important, and I think to me, sensitive paths that I've ever taken is that I was hired by Memorial Hospital to create food for outpatient cancer patients that were going in for their chemo. And I don't know if any of you or any of your loved ones, my mother had cancer, 2 different types of cancer, which finally took her. But I would come with her every time she would go for chemo every week. And I remember they would give her this salty broth from the can, right, chicken broth. They'd give them some kind of a fruity sweet drink. And saltine crackers, and if she was lucky, a cookie, right? And when my mother passed, I was called up by Memorial and asked about feeding the doctors and the nurses at the hospital. And I said, well, yeah, I can do that, that's fine. But can I feed outpatient? And so I started making these beautiful quiches in little bites and just little, very thoughtful, very loved recipes that the actual hospital could create and did. And we did that for years. And it was one of the most amazing things when I would actually meet patients, not at the hospital, but out and about. And they would thank me for the delicious food at the outpatient center. And, it's amazing how I started my career thinking that I was just going to really run restaurants and run people. And hopefully you'd come to my restaurant and I would give you a delicious meal and make a delicious experience out of your birthday or your anniversary. I've even served pregnant women food that I know that they went into labor because of. And this has all been amazingly, a gift for me. But because of that, and because I've realized how lucky I am, I've decided that extending your hand and arm and feeding people that don't get to come into your restaurants as often as a lot of, people that I feed do. There's ways of touching people in so many ways with food. I can't even think of all the incredible ways, I joined Jose Andres, who, if you don't know, you need to look him up. He basically has, he fed Puerto Rico, he's working in Gaza, he is just unbelievable. And I travel with him as much as I can allows much as time allows me to. And that has been some of the most rewarding culinary work of my life. Okay, moving on. And then came this delicious blue-eyed blonde child. I have tried having children for a long time, and I should probably keep this in the room, but hey, they're all watching too. So I ended up not being able to have a child. So, well, I did, because I adopted. And the day that I adopted this absolutely beautiful, stunning, I could never have made a kid this beautiful. Trust me, with my genes, I'm a little goofy looking. I look like a Jewish old man, let's face it. So we adopted like the most perfect specimen, right? Brought him home. It was quite fussy, right? All of a sudden I had a child that suffered from every possible stomach issue a child could. And I'm talking his first week of life, right? He was starved. I didn't realize this. She was doing all kinds of synthetic things. Never knew. So what did I do? I did what I'm comfortable doing, right? I fed him. And it makes me so emotional because like he couldn't eat, right? He couldn't eat anything. He couldn't keep anything down. He ate. He's big. He couldn't keep anything down. Everything came out. We called him Bib Boy because he couldn't walk around without a bib because everything was coming out of this poor thing. And I decided to, I had no knowledge. I was completely ignorant. The only thing I know how to do is feed. So how do you feed someone with all of these gastrointestinal issues? I went back to my chicken soup. So no, seriously, I was making the craziest, most gelatinous chicken and beef stocks. I mean, these things were like bouncy balls, right? Incredible, filled with bones, filled with love. And every vegetable puree that I made for him, the base were these beautiful stocks. I am a Latina, we like our rice. So I also went to the power of, and I know white rice is not the best thing for you, I get that. However, in a baby, I was making my own pureed rice flours out of these beautiful organic rices that I was getting from farmers. And I was pureeing this into his foods. Within 3 months, the kid gained 6 pounds. I mean, a baby, right? He became the most healthy, most incredible. He's just turned 14 2 days ago. He's 5'10", he weighs 162 pounds. He's a swimmer. He is a tennis player. He's extremely stubborn, but I love that about him. So to me, I mean, how much did I learn, right, from this child? And we went to doctors. It's not like I didn't go to doctors, but nobody could heal him. And I didn't want to medicate him. He was too little to do so. So I told you all about my schooling. And I don't know if I actually told you, I think I did, that I was starving myself. So when you're a dancer, right, we have image problems. I still do. I feel like I look a little dumpy today. It is what it is. I came here with so much love in my heart that I'm hoping that that's all you see right now. Now, I started a foundation here in South Florida because of everything that I love in food and in children. And it's called Common Threads. Common Threads is something that was started in Chicago many years ago. And I've now been on the board for over 10 years. And I opened the one here in South Florida. And what we do is we have incredible classes for children, undernourished kids, within the school walls and cafeterias of schools, mainly public schools in Dade County, but we actually moved over to Broward recently. And we also engage their parents and their caregivers, and we teach them better eating habits at home. And we hopefully spread those eating habits into their communities. We teach basic nutrition. We teach them how to walk around a grocery store and make better choices. We teach them how to cook on their budget. Because let's face it, we can all create a great menu with super healthy choices, but those choices are going to be expensive. You know, you can't just tell someone that is undernourished to go buy at a farmer's market who doesn't take food stamps. So we try to, you know, take them with us and give them tours of grocery stores in their inner city neighborhoods and try to really teach them about just smarter choices, right? And obviously how to get their kids to cook with them. Because to me, you engage a child in a kitchen with you, that child is going to learn how to not only eat better, but give them something for their future. They will learn how to cook for themselves, for their families, and hopefully move on and be able to cook for themselves for the rest of their lives, which I think is missing in this country. Is to sit down and eat with your family, to cook with your family. You know, I grew up in a family, I was very lucky. I had a mother who, I had an amazing father too, but I had this amazing mother, Marta, who would cook for us every single night, even though she worked. And we made sure that we had dinner every night together. Now, we didn't have cell phones, right? The competing cell phone thing. But we do have a rule in the Bernstein Martinez household, and that rule is no phones at the table. You sit with each other, you eat, you can fight, I don't care. Talk about what you want, but you have to sit and eat together. Even if I have to run to work 10 minutes later, even if my mind might be needing to be somewhere else. I have 350 employees. Yeah, my mind is somewhere else. I worry about how I'm going to pay them at the end of the week some days when it's really slow and it's a tough summer. But we still have time to eat together. There's no excuse. So a little bit about me personally. I've got, I think, 4 autoimmune diseases. I have a couple other things, but I don't think they're autoimmune. I never really looked them up because I don't really care. I've got asthma, which I've had since I was born, and it's actually pretty bad. I end up in the hospital about 3 or 4 times a year. And amazingly enough, my son has it as well. You know, it's funny. With adopted children, they end up being just like you, poor things. Arthritis, which we talked about. I just found out that I had diabetes. Never knew I did. Really sucks. I'm not really, you know, I'm not a big eater, but it still just sucks. I mean, it really sucks to be growing up and to be finding out that the reason why I have all these things, you mentioned it yourself, doctor, that I do have 4 genes. Obviously I do. But I also have ignored eating and nutrition. Even though I preach it, even though I teach it, I didn't pay attention to the sign. Oh, and I have Hashimoto's. That's autoimmune, right? Yeah. Okay. Great. So I truly feel like for years that I lived with as a contradiction, right? I create this beautiful, nutritious food, meals for everyone else. But when it came to feeding myself, I grabbed anything. I would wait until I was so desperate. When I tell you just a few months ago that I didn't eat until it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon from the night before. And then what do you do at 5 in the afternoon? And you're standing at a restaurant surrounded by everything, 3 kinds of fish, 5 kinds of meat, 2 different fowls. I mean, everything, and vegetables galore. But what would I grab?
French fries.
Yes, the French fries, which we make ourselves, and they're really good. Come up every 5 minutes because we serve, them with the burgers for the people at the bar, and for the fried fish, we serve French fries, and we make them, and they are damn delicious. And we make our own potato chips every 5 minutes. I know you guys are gonna want to come to this restaurant. Anyway, so they come up in warm bowls. I salt them and I put them in these fancy crystal dishes. And guess who has to taste them to make sure that they're crispy and warm and salty enough? That was me, not anymore, but that was me. I ignored every body signal, right? And I put my nutrition last. So here was my wake-up call. My autoimmune conditions forced me to face a really hard truth because I knew I was ignoring feeding myself. The inflammation, the fatigue, and the flares were it was just too much. And I was demanding so much on my body. Remember, I told you that I do work 12 to 14 hours a day. I also run after my son. I also make sure that my chef coats are cleaned by only me because I'm a bit of a freak about it. And I also love to garden. I have beautiful gardens where we pull vegetables and I make for everybody else from my house all day long. So just a few months ago, when I got the last kick in the ass with diabetes, I decided to change everything and I decided to nourish myself and to figure out how to really achieve an anti-inflammation diet that wasn't something that I was just reading out of a book. That was something that I actually would sit and say, you know what? This is a damn delicious meal. And I can't eat just to be sated. I have to eat yummy. I mean, it's a problem. I know it is. I know that I can't tell everybody in the world that you have to eat something delicious, but why can't it be tasty? Why can't it be something that maybe you crave? I actually came up with one of my dishes out of frustration and anger on one of the first days that I was in the kitchen. I said, okay, it's my second meal of the day. What am I going to do? We're about to start lunch service. I have to throw something together. I grabbed a piece of fish. I put it into a saute pan. I covered it with a grated tomato that we use on a piece of bread that I don't eat. And I threw it with a grated tomato in the pot. I threw a little bit of shallot and garlic in it, a little touch of olive oil. I think I squeezed the lemon on it, not sure, and some za'atar, which I love za'atar. It's a dried thyme and mint thing. Anyway, I threw it in the oven, which is not a way that I ever cook anything because everything to me is either sauteed or grilled or cooked in the oven behind me that is 900 degrees. And I cook wood burning food in there. And I pulled it out and I warmed a little bit of rice with lentils, brown rice, by the way, which I changed to. And it was delicious. And it was satisfying. And what did it satisfy? Finally, my soul. So what a lesson I learned that day. That you can eat food that will not only change your tummy and your gut health, which I'm realizing is really what started all of this mishigas, but also the fact that I'm learning how to make it delicious and craveable. I mean, who thought I would have craved any of these things? But I do, and I am, and I'm loving it. And all I want to eat is a little piece of salmon with my tzatziki sauce that I've been making lately with my now 1%, I hate to say it, yogurt, because I was always full fat and I would get mad at the other stuff. Now, I will not buy anything that says light on it just because of who I am and because I just won't do it, because I'm very stubborn like my son, or maybe him because of me, but I will make myself delicious, fast food that now finally it's like my whole body has changed. Everything is in agreement, which is crazy. Because I never thought it was mad at me, but I guess I realized there it was. So let's talk about my new foundation. Let me put this down here. Here we go. So this is what I did. And this doesn't work for everyone, and it's not even necessary for everyone, but I can only tell you my personal story. Am I talking too much? Am I too long? Okay.
You're telling.
Okay. If it's too long, just tell me sure. Okay. So I eliminated gluten. Now, a lot of people by the way, I went to see a nutritionist. She didn't know shit about food. So I walked away. But I did ask her, I needed a path, right? And I did study nutrition, but I got mad when I studied nutrition because I felt like you don't know about food, I know about food. So I feel like I know I'm not an expert, but I felt like for me, I was like the best person that I could trust. So I eliminated gluten. Man, did that help. My joints immediately started feeling so different. My whole body started to change a little bit. I now am able to exercise, which I never really added in exercise. Okay, I know that's a really big deal. And I used to exercise a lot. For God's sakes, I'm an ex-ballerina. Exercise has always been a huge part of my life until I found my delicious career of being a chef, and it became harder and harder. I get to the restaurants at 6 a.m. So when the hell are you going to exercise, right? But just last month, I realized, oh my God, I have extra energy. I'm not tired all the time anymore. My tummy doesn't hurt all the time anymore. So I began to exercise. So the gluten was great. The exercise even better. This is a tough one for me with this whole new diabetes lifestyle that I'm leading, and I will not take medicine yet because I'm praying that in 2 months when I go see my doctor that she'll realize that my numbers are getting better. I haven't tested it because I'm scared, but I'm hoping that with everything I'm learning and how much better I'm feeling and less shakes that I have and everything else, that I'm hoping I can stay away from medicine. So I learned how to stop eating as much meat. Did I tell you that I was Argentinian? So I don't know if you all know about the Argentine diet, but cows are really, really important to us. And I'm talking every little part of them, from the thoracic glands to the blood sausages. Oh, I mean, I love a good chorizo. I love everything, right? I am a meat lover. A burger to me, I would take my clothes off with my husband if he makes me a burger. I mean, I love, I mean that. I love meat. I was told that meat is really bad for people with diabetes. And sadly, I'm now on a once a month meat diet. And I have to tell you, it's changed everything. But I have tricks, of course. So there are little things that I do with turkeys and chickens and plant-based things that make it taste heartier. Okay, it's not like blood, right? But it definitely is making me forget how much I love to consume beef. Even though when I talk about it, it makes it harder. Okay. So I discovered lean meats. I discovered plant-based. But the best part about all that is I became more creative for me, but guess who else is enjoying it? I now am using all of this, and I don't preach, by the way. I don't talk to anybody about this because who wants to hear my story? Well, I guess you guys do. But what I mean is, people come into my restaurants, right? I own catering, a big catering company, and I do a lot of things, but I never preach. That is not who I am, and it's not what I'm about. I'm not a very good salesperson. In fact, I was kicked off of HSN after 24 hours trying to sell pans. But where am I going with this? What I did was I started changing my menus. Yes, of course, I still have foie gras and my great chicken liver with donuts. Gotta try it. But I have beautiful plant-based foods on my menu. And I have leaner cuts that I make in a way that I think are craveable and delicious. I can do anything with a piece of fish. Give me a whole fish, I will break down its bones. I will make you the craziest sauce that makes your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth with beautiful collagen and gelatin. I will make all that happen because of how much I love what I do. And I will put it on the menu and you will eat better. You might not know it, but you will start feeling better. So my menus have changed. I'm embracing fiber. God, fiber. I never knew how important fiber was. Did you guys know how important fiber was? Yeah. And I'm not talking to you guys. Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I never knew. I never realized. And to be honest with you, my stomach knew. I have a lot of problems. I suffer from diverticulosis. I'm this close to diverticulitis. I got issues, but since I changed my diet, again, everything is better. And my diet now includes fiber. And I'm sticking fiber everywhere I can, not only for me, but also my customers. All the rices that I'm serving are brown rices. And not only just brown rice, but the brown rices. I'm putting little bits of lentils and little bits of beans and grains and farro for those with gluten. And I love quinoa, and I don't leave the house without making a little quinoa salad for myself. My son is eating chia puddings. I mean, things are crazy, right? Michelle Bernstein is making chia pudding for her son. Pretty crazy. And so I have found that I have gained so much knowledge in treating myself on my own and learning so much more about the beauty, right? The beauty of healthy food and the beauty of eating better and how you can make yourself feel better and how important the anti-inflammatory ways of living can be. And I truly, truly believe that with a little bit of excitement and creativity, without rolling the eyes, without feeling desperation, which I almost did, I realized who I was. And I realized how delicious I can make food for myself and now food for everyone else. I mean, have you ever tried quinoa inside of a chicken soup? You won't believe how yummy it is. You know, it's surprising because it used to be that we would put the butter noodles in it, right? The egg noodles or the rice, but now it's quinoa. So I'm going to read this part because this is something I wrote this morning and I'm kind of proud of it because I never write anything other than cookbooks. When I started healing myself, I became a better chef. I became more intuitive, more creative with healthy ingredients. I became a better teacher, speaking from experience rather than theory. And I became a better mother, modeling, and this is a big one, self-care instead of self-neglect, because I was neglecting myself of food. I don't want to teach that to my son, Zach. I want him to learn that you have to care for yourself. You have to take care of yourself first, because that's what should come first. Everything I learned about managing my autoimmune conditions through food made me more effective in my work, with my kid, and with my husband, and my whole extended family. I used to think focusing on my own nutrition was selfish. I really did. I used to think that stopping to eat was actually selfish. Can you believe that? Now I know that every step I take to heal myself gives me something real and authentic to offer others. Self-care is not selfish. It's the foundation of genuine service. When we nourish ourselves, we nourish our communities. We can't pour from empty cups, but when our cups are full, we have so much more to give. And with that, I thank you.
That was great.
Thank you so much. We're going to continue our program. We're going to ask Chef Bernstein to sit. We're going to invite Dr. Klimas back, the director of our institute, and I want to introduce Dr. Irina Rozenfeld, one of our amazing clinicians and the director of our concierge program. And I just want to say, if you want some good nutritionists, you have my number. I'll hook you up.
That was so much fun. I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I did. That was fabulous. No, it's just right. Because it's so personal, and that's what we were hoping. It's, you know, I know Irina and I both talk to our patients a lot about food as medicine, but I like that you brought it as food as soul. I mean, that's a completely different and beautiful concept. Well, thank you for doing that very much. I'm going to let Irina speak and then.
Hello, I'm Irina Rozenfeld. I'm nurse practitioner. I work with Dr. Klimas more than 14 years. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to serve these patients. We share with Michelle a lot of things. One important, we share genes. We come from the same. We may be related, so it's interesting fact. We just share. She came from Argentina. Half of my family before Russian Revolution left for Argentina. We can find out something. But it's I love to cook. All my colleague and my patient knows that it's my hobby. I did have ballet and figure skating and tennis, but cooking is my hobby. It's my coping mechanism. It's anti-anxiety. I went through school a lot. If I have exams coming, my refrigerator is usually full of food. It's like procrastination. I need to cook. I need to cut. I need to do something. Food let us travel from our kitchen. It's open windows to the world. I can cook. I ate baked falafel yesterday, so with tahini sauce. And day before, I may eat something with a lot of turmeric, and it was Singaporean dish. Food let us be with our family, and it is actually important. And some patients strive and they go on a diet, and then we have a story that, I wake up in the middle of the night and I went to refrigerator because I didn't eat for 2 weeks, and then I went and I ate with carbs. And this is really important, where as a clinician, I hear that. I went through the one thing what I do at home and know about myself. I cannot go to any restaurant. My belly will not accept the food. My family think that I'm snob and I only accept food from very expensive restaurants. But something important thing I learned from my professional career, it's important what kind of oil restaurant use. It's important where that produce was grown, what kind of soil, how was used for that produce, where was meat. Even sometimes what our soul food or our origin request, sometimes people only eat particular kosher food and meat, and this meat is heavily preserved and has a lot of salt. And my genes, even I told all my patients on every visit for 14 years, add salt to your diet. Personally, I cannot even look on salt. My blood pressure going up. So it's really important what is in your plate, and it's important to discuss with your professional clinician, healthcare provider. Our clinic, good place to start. And in general, I know I see it. In 2017, I went and something what I knew growing up and getting degree on another continent. It was not practiced the same way, nutrition, like it's in other places. And when I heard there is an integrative medicine program, first inaugural program in medical school in George Washington, I jumped. And I went to this school to learn whole body medicine. And I'm very proud that our clinic, this is a whole body medicine. And when it's whole body medicine, you have to ask your patient, what do you eat? And I always ask patient what's happened after it. So what do you put? How's your poop? Right? I order stool test. We dissect what's inside your gut. We really want to know name of the microbe and what's the family of microbe, and we can predict you're gonna be skinny or you're gonna be obese because we know your microbiome. And we sometimes, it's not you who was starving for carbs. It was your microbiome at night starving for carbs. And we have a tricks that you can take cup of kefir before going to sleep, and you're gonna sleep better, and your microbiome will be happy. It's quite a detailed story. And I appreciate you sharing your story, and I can add, but I wanna have I have one question. So I went on this journey that I learned about how to treat patients, how to assess patients, how identify nutrition. And by the way, in 2020, the topic of my doctoral project, my dissertation was nutrition in patients with chronic fatigue syndrome. And guess what? 85% of my samples of patients on a study were at risk for nutritional deficiency, and 85% at risk for nutrition deficiency because the disease prevents them from cooking because we don't have strength. The disease prevents from digesting appropriately, and we have no company to eat together. There is very interesting answer. The question. No,
I missed it.
no. It was I kind of tried. It's a pre-questions. I'm so glad to hear the restaurants are improving and your menu is improving. How important for people to learn to cook home?
It's everything. This is why I started a foundation that actually teaches children and their parents to cook at home. The essential is if you teach a young person or an old person really to eat better at home, they will eat better everywhere. I truly believe that, starting as early as you can with people, to expand their palates and their options, they will become better eaters as they grow. I can't get over the fact that every time we get together with my son's friends, seeing them growing up throughout the years, that chicken fingers and sliders has been like the only thing that they've ever chosen on their menu. So for me, Zachary grew up eating poached artichokes when he was 3, to, now he'll eat pretty much anything he can. He's allergic to a couple things, but whatever he's not allergic to, he will dive into anything. So that's only one example of a person that grew up in my kitchen. However, all of the people that I have worked with and cooked for, I pushed the idea of eating at home. First of all, you can control what you're eating when you're cooking at home. You control what you're purchasing. You don't have to purchase in fancy markets to eat better oils, to cook in better oils, to cook better produce and better proteins. You just have to know what to do. Now, you don't want to buy a bunch of stuff, stick it in your fridge and see it go bad. That would be, for me, one of the most criminal things a person can do, right? And what a waste of your own money and time. But to really have a plan, which I think is really important for regular people who are not chefs, to have a plan for the week, write out that plan, figure out how to get to that plan and how to reach it, right? Go shopping for it and make it. Don't complicate your life. You don't need 100 ingredients for each dish. But make sure those dishes are thoughtful. So when I say thoughtful, I'm going to give a really quick example and then I will let you both speak again. Somebody throw me a boring protein. I know what it's gonna be, but somebody throw me a protein. Chicken. Yeah, but what kind? You're gonna give me a white breast without skin. You're gonna say that. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'm happy. So a chicken thigh, right? We're all gonna buy a boneless, skinless chicken thigh because that's just what we do normally, right? I don't, but you guys probably do. It's a lot easier. I get it. So take a little bit of a chili rub. Take the zest of a lemon. Take a really good drop of olive oil. Puree that together with your favorite, let's just say, maybe a little something fermented. You like kimchi? Kimchi is really good on your tummy, right, Doc? I'm not saying anything I shouldn't. Okay, great. Take a little kimchi or something fermented that you might like, even sauerkraut. Puree it up with the chili, with the lemon zest, with the oil. Cover those thighs in it. A couple hours later, sear that bad boy in a pan. You won't even need any oil or throw it on the grill. You will not believe the flavors and the texture of that chicken. It's insane. Those little tricks on little things you can do to boost up not only the flavor, to me, textures are super important, obviously because of my background, but to get a better texture out of something, right? So that it's not dry. So that not only does it have juice, but it has a better bite to it, but also when you eat it, you go, cool, right? That's, to me, those little things are everything. And those things might be sitting in your fridge right now. I mean, who doesn't own sauerkraut for years? I do.
I'm going to throw in a question, which is many of our patients, they're by definition, they're really exhausted. So how do they cook and keep it healthy and keep it tasty? Are there shortcuts, things they could learn to do?
So yes, and I do them too, because remember, I work so many hours a day. And when I come home, the last thing I want to do is work another hour or two in the kitchen. So I go to some of my favorite markets and I buy prepared lentils. I buy prepared beans because as much as I can probably make some of the best beans you've ever had, I don't have time to do it. Or I soak them all night long and I cook them in the morning and then I leave them in the fridge for a couple days. I always have, this is really Latin of me, I always have sofrito in my refrigerator. What is sofrito? It basically means that once every 4 to 5 days, I saute my favorite things in a pot and I puree it. So it's onions, it's garlic, and it's peppers. Could be chilies if you want it spicy. I throw in the stems of the coriander, cilantro, or culantro, and I puree that up with a little bit of parsley, and that sits in my fridge. Why? Because every time I take someone else's beans or rice or whatever it is that I'm purchasing to make my life a little bit easier, even a rotisserie chicken from a place you've trusted, pull all the meat off that bad boy, toss that in a little bit of sofrito, and you will have yourself the most delicious meal. You can put that into sandwiches. You can put that into, make yourself a burrito. You can throw a rice bowl together, which is my choice because let's face it, I hate gluten-free things. So like, the purchased stuff that's all starchy and bad for you anyway. So I always have brown rice made, always. You can buy it. They sell it frozen in little packs. You can have your proteins marinating. You can toss them and have them ready to go. So all you have to do is literally throw them into a pot, a saute pan or a grill or whatever it is that your choice of the way that you like to make things. And you flip that thing over a few times and you have something delicious. Make yourselves what I do. I make these quinoa salads every 4 days and I have them sitting in a Tupperware in my fridge. I make the chia puddings. I make farro salads for my family, even though I don't eat them because they have gluten in them, but they're really good and they make you feel good. There are so many things. Take the brown rice, for God's sakes, the leftover from last night's, and throw a couple of, either cooked zucchini or raw pickles or your favorite cucumbers and turn it into something delicious with a squeeze of lemon. By the way, lemon and salt will take you all the way through. A little bit of good oil, good olive oil, and you are set for life.
And I ate something. So, but I like it, but no, I would from medical perspective on this a little bit. It's dependent, have a nutritionist or talk with your clinician. It's important for me for each particular disease, the nutrition is almost the same important as medication. So for some of us, we need really high salt intake, but when we take a lot of salt, your body may be getting rid of the potassium. And in this case, I would recommend this patient soup. And this patient maybe have histamine intolerance. Yeah, some people will say yes. So, and then we cannot hold it, eat it tomorrow, but I found with my patients runabouts. So we're making butternut squash soup and we're making 2 liters of this soup and it's fresh and we add a lot of salt as much as we can and we freeze it.
Can I say something about soup really quick? So if you want to make squash soup, which by the way is so comforting and so delicious and so good, cut your squashes in half, rub them up with your favorite thing, right? Whatever flavorings you like, seasonings that you like. Roast them always skin side up, right? Cut side down on a baking sheet. Have them roasted in your fridge. You can make that soup roasted in the oven and then have them in your fridge after they're roasted. After they're roasted, have them in the fridge and you can make that soup fresh for yourself every single night. You can take some warm chicken broth or whatever vegetable broth or even dashi, whatever it is that you like, scoop out the cooked squash and you can cook every 3 to 4 days and it will sit good in a Ziploc bag, already cooked in your fridge. Scoop it out and it's like eating fresh soup. Because I don't know about you guys, but I hate when things sit in my fridge for too long and then they kind of don't necessarily taste like the fridge because my fridge doesn't really taste like most people's fridges. However, it's not very often I speak highly of myself, but I'm a maniac about cleaning my fridge. But if you learn these little tricks, you can make all of these incredible ideas that these 2 amazing women next to me have. And you can just make them a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, and always fresh.
Use buckwheat.
Buckwheat? I
Buckwheat.
love buckwheat. I love
Buckwheat has
Yeah, buckwheat
high
flour.
protein intake, low carbs.
And she taught me about buckwheat. I did not know.
Pancake, it's gluten-free, it's full of protein. There is a lot of things. But what I was trying to say, particular diseases need particular prescription menu. It's almost prescription menu. And when I start looking through the diet for some of my new adventures, interests in my life, and I start looking through recipe, I find out that regular lentil does not have too much potassium, but red lentil has 900 milligrams of potassium. So talk. It's really, really important to speak with nutritionists or with practitioner for no nutrition a little bit, because it's important what you put there. Even plumber asks what you put there, but we have to ask our patient and discuss with the patient what you eat, in what amount, and how you cook it. I figure out that I learn and I recommend you to do it. This is experiment. It's successful for me. We start going to Hispanic markets and all kind of stores like Bravo, whatever. We don't know name of those fruits sometimes. But every week I bring home different fruit or vegetable. And we study and we learn how to eat it. This is you diversify your microbiome. Cheap, not expensive probiotic. Just start eating different fruits, different vegetables every week. And you bring new flora to your microbiome, and you notice there is some symptoms I don't have anymore, and it's really nice. And I want one word. Yes, fiber is really important. And besides my study, 95%, according to government studies, 95% of American population don't eat enough fiber. And it's translated so that you got in your microbiome, which is responsible for production neurotransmitters, make you happy, production of vitamins for you. We are starving because you don't have enough fiber, and microbiome wants fiber.
Is it true that a lot of, because this is what I'm finding when I read everything that I buy, that gluten-free foods, a lot of them, like the crackers and the breads, they don't have fiber either, and they're actually pretty
Yeah.
bad for you.
Yeah, starch.
Oh, this is why I'm a big advocate to cook home.
Right.
I prefer, I recommend in Publix, it's actually not me, it's kind of axioma at this point. Shop in Publix by perimeter.
You do the outside. We always say that.
Outside.
Don't do
Don't
the
buy-
aisles, no aisles, just the outside. Go to the green section, the
Section.
fresh food section, and skip all the middle.
Right, and plus, Dr. Rager confirmed, everything sitting in the packets dry has particular preservatives added to that. So, and it's sitting somewhere on the shelves for a long time, it can have mycotoxins.
Yeah, if something looks fresh a week after you bought it, it's probably really bad for you. I want to just say two things. First, that comment you made at the very end about role modeling self-care was so touching. And I think every clinician, every mom in the room can say that is hard to do, right? It's so hard to give yourself permission to take care of yourself. And yet, you know, I look at my grown kids now who watch me running around like a maniac trying to be three different people growing up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, my daughter's doing that. Did I model that? You know, oh my. So, and I'm sure I did. I'm absolutely sure of it. So that's that I really love that comment. So I want to appreciate you for that one and reinforce that with every single person here. The other comment I want to make that you could comment on, a lot of people when they feel bad go to comfort foods, but easy foods, the bagel, the toast with jam. And then we count their proteins, and they are so protein deficient that they are catabolizing their muscles. They're eating their muscles. They try to get up their week. I just saw someone spend 3 weeks more or less in bed with a crash, ate nothing but toast and jam. She lost so much muscle mass in 3 weeks that she's weak from losing the muscle. So how do we encourage our patients to find the proteins, particularly when they're being plant-based and they might not know enough about plant-based diets to do that well?
The first thing that I do actually nowadays, which everything has changed, I used to find, you know, creativity and emotion, right, with certain ingredients. And I would want to plan all of the menus in the restaurants and my own around all those feelings, right, and those ingredients that I found. But now I actually plan every meal that I eat and make around the protein, whether it's plant-based or not, it is around the protein. What do I want to make sure that I ingest? And then what can I build around it to make it taste good and to get the right fiber, the right vegetable, you know, amount of vegetable, a little bit of fruit, all the things that I need for my body to keep on moving, which it wasn't, and it hadn't for a really, really long time. And trust me, my body is freaking out right now because it is in motion. I know that's TMI, but I, and I didn't eat lunch, but I will. So the thing is, I base everything on that one thing. What do I want to get in me, right? Whether it's the 2 eggs or, the tofu or the chicken or the fish or whatever it might be that I've chosen to be my protein of the day, that is my number one. And then everything else fits around it.
Thank you so much.
What recommendation for patients who cannot dairy?
What's really funny is I don't eat much dairy myself. I don't need it in my diet. It doesn't make my body very happy to eat dairy, and for some reason it makes me sleepy when I eat dairy. So I actually don't eat dairy. I eat a lot of plant-based dairy nowadays. And if I need something creamy, I'll make it. What's that? Coconut cream? Yeah, I make a lot of coconut creams. But I also use things like a roast squash and I puree the heck out of it, right? And I turn it into something really lush. You were talking about cauliflower. Cauliflower has become such a best friend of mine now. I pickle the leaves around the cauliflower. I turn my cauliflower meat, some of it into puree, some of it into couscous. It's amazing how you can get that lush creaminess that we're all searching for and other things. Like if you can have tofu, I love pureed tofu. There are so many amazing, we're so lucky that we're living in this time in certain respects, because there's so many things.
Good aside.
Sorry. There are so many things out there now, right, for us, that we can use instead of the traditional foods that we grew up thinking were the right things to eat at the time. Now there's a plethora. It's such a beautiful world out there with ingredients that those of us that don't do well with dairy can go to. I can't actually eat physical nuts, which is why I didn't eat the salad. Sorry, I didn't tell you that earlier, but I make the most amazing cashew spreads. I make this Alfredo sauce using a cashew that none of you would ever turn your back at. Like you would be like, holy moly, how'd she do it? I make lasagnas with it. My kid doesn't know. My husband, who's even worse, doesn't know. They even like it better. You just have some roast garlic at your house. Trust me, it makes everything better. But there's so many other options for us nowadays. You just have to look for them and open the eyes to it.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot of substitution. Easy. I substitute when I cook a lot, and I found interesting things. So, but I'm trying to make it a little bit medical all the time. For particular disease, for particular situation, you have to always address this particular issue. My friends know in my personal, I guess nutrition is always through personal experience. I couldn't eat broccoli. And then something happened. I learned how to cook broccoli appropriately. For me right now, it's about dressing. I never knew that it's a salad dressing. And now when salad dressing is fresh and broccoli in particular pieces, it doesn't make me sick. So you have to do some research on your own and find out what makes you sick and probably do reference, like in reflection, what I ate and what make me sick. And then when it stopped making you sick. And I want to say that it's not bad time, it's amazing time in different respects, but we live in a time of innovation and in time when we catch up with whole world and we have devices. We have nutritionists in our university with us working in our clinic, and we team up with her because we got excited about particular device. It's called Thermomix. It's a robot for kitchen from Germany, very fancy device. But we start cooking with her and getting recipe, and we have classes. So you can attend our classes once a month. This is not about only Mediterranean diet or only anti-inflammatory diet. And people know like DASH diet. You don't eat salt or it's Mediterranean diet. For our patients, we make it more details, we have low histamine diet, anti-inflammatory diet, low purine diet, low glutamate diet, we can prescribe diet as medication practically. And what we're trying to do in those classes, we invite in person, mostly people prefer online. We really teach how to cook it and make it easy and fast, and probably in like no more than 15 minutes to spend of your time. So we have right now opportunity to plan your food, to order your food, to prepare it on a week ahead and prepare it easily. So ask questions, we know how to do it.
I'm going to say, as Irina and Dr. Finns together put this neat nutrition class together, but I'm going to be grateful to those of you in the room, you're amazing donors to our program, because we do this stuff for free. We're not charging. And it's not just for our patients. Anyone can pop on. If they go into our webpage, they can find these links and they can have the opportunity to do these things. And it's really the generosity. I'm going to shout out generosity of so many people that allow us to go above and beyond and offer these things. So thank you. I want to ask one question, my last question, because I know we're running over, which is the source of food. We do a test in our clinic routinely for the chemical Roundup. We've never found a negative. Everybody has Roundup in their bloodstream. It's just really distressing. When you're sourcing organic, how do you know you're organic? Or if you can't afford, Whole Foods or whoever, how do you know how to source? I love that you have your own garden. That's a clear and wonderful way if you don't have any Roundup in your yard.
I don't. And I've been growing my own vegetables for my house for years. And by the way, it's not expensive. And I get my seeds from really reliable sources as well. Plus everything we use is 100% natural. In the restaurants, I grew up with my farmers. I grew up with my fishermen. I know how things are fished. I know where they're fished. I know how they're caught. I know how they're grown. Now, are we 100% organic? Heck no. Number one, we can't be, because we wouldn't have enough to feed people with. Plus, it's not fun because there's very little, variety available, and people want more, sadly. People want huge variety. People are used to variety. So the sad thing is, it's just not possible. It's not possible to be fully aware.
Root vegetables have more concentration.
Correct. Which is why I actually purchase my root vegetables, all of my onions, all of the most important things that I have read about and that I know contain the most amount from reliable sources. People literally that I've known my whole lives here in South Florida. But it's expensive. It's really, really, it's expensive for our restaurants. It's expensive for me as the owner of the restaurant. I could never charge enough, which is why I don't know how to make money. That's another conversation. But because, no, but it's really, really difficult. I try to really make sure that, I'm buying the best possible quality constantly. But what beats me up is the variety.
We're gonna take up some questions. Okay. Does anybody, I'll bring you the microphone because you have to speak into the mic in order for the Zoom people to.
So again, thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation. And one of the things I told you about your paella, one of the things that always impressed me was that you had a lot of seafood and not that much rice when I ever ate it. And I was always impressed by that because I never thought I could enjoy it if it didn't have a lot of rice. And I enjoyed it tremendously. And I'm going to give a plug to the EWG, to the Environmental Working Group, for anybody that hasn't heard my sermons before. The Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen, you have to try to go organic. If not, you have to wash, get that Roundup, get that petroleum, get that pesticide off. The Clean 15, you're good. All you have to do is wash the outside and you'll be okay because it won't be contaminated inside. So that's one of my contributions as an environmental medicine physician. And the low histamine, because so many of our patients have mast cell activation. We need to have them freeze foods a lot because if they keep them in the refrigerator, they're creating histamine when they have leftovers. So that's the only thing that I can add, but thank you again.
I'm gonna ask ask McKenna to send that list out. So we will send everybody, and then we have a newsletter that the Institute sends out bi-weekly, I think. There's 3,000 people on the list. If you want to be on the list, let us know. We also have a podcast, and a lot of this is on that podcast. So whatever information we can give you, we're happy to share.
Thank you very much. I have a question about the specific diets for different deficiencies or whatever. I mean, because my take is eat clean and mind what you eat and try to stay away from too much sugar, so on and so forth. How do you discover what specifically you need? Is it done through your system or is it symptomatic?
It is symptomatic. It depends by what organ system is in a trouble. If you have diverticulosis, we will tell you don't eat seeds and we can adjust your diet. If you have kidney disease, we will probably shy away from foods and fruits which high in potassium, and then you need some, but there might be less protein, of course. And so if there is I kind of combine and trying to marry nutrition and medicine and make it prescriptive nutrition. So it's no, which is what I say, Mediterranean diet may be good for one and make sick another person. So it's very personal. Addition of very qualified nutritionists to our staff. And sometimes I know the patient will be stubborn. They already come to see us and may decide, I don't need nutrition. I already got my prescription. But it's really important to have nutrition questionnaire, fill out the diary and review what you eat, and then communicate between, in my case, Dr. Klimas, me, nutritionist, and find out what is your diagnosis and what you need to eat. With diabetes, it's a one diet. With kidney disease, another diet. With liver disease, another diet. It's not one Mediterranean diet, which is what I'm trying to say. In your case,
They can't hear you. Use the microphone.
I was saying that listening to your body is so important, you know. And the other thing that you mentioned was that when you made the change, it was hard, but then it was what your body wanted and needed, and you didn't crave the old stuff. That is so true. How many of you have given up sugar? And it took 2 or 3 weeks before you didn't want that chocolate bar, right? But then you're like, I don't want a chocolate bar anymore. It's just like your body. I mean, just you stop craving. So I think that.
Wait a minute. I gave up on sugar, but I still eat chocolate, but really dark chocolate without any extra sugar. But what I know, I'm kidding. But what I was gonna say is, and I know this is a little weird, and this might be a little unorthodox, but have you ever gotten sick from food, right? From whatever it might have been, and then you can't get that food out of your head? That's how I've been feeling for a couple years now. I dream of things that I want, and I have had like a weird bad feeling about things that I shouldn't eat. And I know that I'm really close to food. It's my best friend. But by the way, I recently have thought that maybe it's not so much my friend. But it's amazing how your own body, like Dr. Clemens is saying, it tells you, your body is telling you. Like I am craving certain things that I never thought I would crave. Super healthy things, not like fun stuff, but I made it fun for myself to be more interested in it. You know, I have to look at it that way, just for my own being. Mean girl.
Question back here. Why don't you stand up?
I'll stand. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Shanine White. I'm a family medicine resident. And I want to just say, first of all, the Neuroimmune Institute is just a wonderful gem that NSU has. And this opportunity is spectacular. And I know some of our residents are online watching as well. I think for everything that's said here, it's very important. And I'm wondering, how can we make this more available? And cooking is easy, but then it's hard. How can we make this more available for residents and physicians and clinicians who want to be able to speak on food and be able to meet their communities with this and have maybe a chef's touch to it, because we have to relate to community as well. So how do we make that possible for us?
So first of all, I just want to say, and I didn't bring it up, we actually, in our foundation in Common Threads, we actually have a STEM of the foundation that teaches through Northwestern. We're actually teaching physicians and residents how to eat better themselves, how to cook, and how to talk about food to their yeah, no doubt.
That's great.
To everyone that sees them, and so to their patients, sorry. And so there are programs out there that actually teach people like you to teach the people that you see how to eat better, how to cook better. And I really think as a chef, I think I need to put myself out there more and get other chefs involved and maybe work with the Institute here. No, what I'm saying is I really think that we should all work together, because it not only benefits your patients, but it benefits everybody in this room, us. If we can all come together and do more cooking online and teach you residents about healthier choices, tricks to make it more delicious, and, you know, go through the whole gambit. And I think it would be really great. You know, I think we could, yeah, it's a wonderful.
Thank you.
question, and there
Thank
is
you.
information out there.
We at the Institute actually, oh, I'm sorry, has a monthly research seminar that's available online and in person. So perhaps that's the next thing on our.
And our blog. And one other thing, and our college, we're so blessed that our college includes the nutrition, right? So we have this partnership within our own college to have the expertise of amazing people, and we've really tried to see them do.
Hi, I'm Dr. Allison Bested, and I'm also on staff at the INM clinics. And I just wanted to repeat what Dr. Irma Ray said. It was the Environmental Working Group, and you can find it online at ewg.com. And that's for the clean 15 and the dirty dozen, the foods that are pesticide and the foods that are free of pesticide. But my question for the chef was, we have a number of patients that are extremely fatigued, bedbound, sometimes housebound. I'm just wondering if you could comment on how to use perhaps things like crock pots or pressure cookers, and if you can explain about kind of one combination meals, like putting things together and creating something at the end of the day or quickly within 15, 20 minutes, like in a pressure cooker.
You know, pressure cookers are great. Now, for people that might not be, like for me, I couldn't use it for a long time because I wasn't strong enough to be able to use it. And I wasn't quick enough to be able to, you know, cool it down. And that it can be scary for people like I was when I wasn't strong enough. But a slow cooker is genius. And by the way, your oven can also work as a slow cooker, just so everybody knows. You don't have to go out and buy one. But if you really put foods together, foods that make you feel good, it's amazing how you can cook a grain and cook a protein and cook a vegetable and have a little broth around it, season it the way you like it, wrap it up and throw it in the oven, and you will have a meal. You know, originally I was taught how to make arroz con pollo, and we make it all somewhat together. There are healthier forms now, but arroz con pollo, obviously, chicken and rice. But you wouldn't believe how many things you can cook in a pot at the same time at a nice slow temperature, and it to come out delicious. There are harder vegetables that take longer to cook that are wonderful. You talked about Latin vegetables, right? In the supermarket, it's amazing. So many of those Latin root vegetables that do take their time to cook, peel them, chop them, throw them in with a lovely piece of chicken, a turkey, a thicker piece of fish on the bone. Bones work really well in this respect. Put everything together with a little bit of flavorings. If you can eat tomatoes, great. If not, you don't need to. Some lovely onions and garlic. If you can eat alliums, make everything better. Throw a little bit of unsalted chicken broth if you need to. If not, you use the regular. And I love a douse of wine and things, you know, and then cover that up and you'll have yourself a meal. You'll have a meal for 2 days. So there are so many tricks you can use, so many things you can do. Yes, you need a knife, you need a cutting board, you need to be able to do it. If not, you buy things that are already chopped for yourself and throw them together. But it's amazing how it just takes the tiniest bit of ingenuity, right? And guidance, a desire to put things together and make them yummy and to feed your soul as well as your gut and your whole body.
Hi, well, thank you, Chef Bernstein, for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. I'm Tanya Farfan. I'm the graduate of our nutrition program here at NSU. My question is actually for the clinic. One of my specialties is functional nutrition testing. So I'm wondering what your take is on food sensitivity testing for autoimmunity. What role does it play? Do you take it seriously? Do you do food sensitivity testing? And if so, do you prefer an auto or the antibody testing versus mediator release testing? Which one is better? Or are neither one? Sorry if it's
I
too
might tell you
technical.
It's actually, I mean, I practiced allergy for a long time before I practiced in this integrated clinic, and they're very different. I'd love to chat with you because that's a long conversation, but in the end, whatever you test, however you get the test, the patient has to test the results. If you get a list of 37 things that you might be sensitive to, you'll ruin your life trying to get 37 things out of your diet. You still have to test it, note whether it provoked something. Don't believe it because everyone has good days and bad days. Go through the list one at a time, testing this, that, and the other thing. It's called elimination diet, and then adding things one at a time. And then when you have your list and take a reel, you have to do it all over again to make sure that it wasn't a bad day and you thought that was your symptom. So all it really does is give you a list of suspects. Okay. However you choose to do that, with how exhaustive a list you choose to test. But if you listen to Chef Bernstein, that list is not even close to what we're actually eating, right? What we can test might be 100 things, 200 things, but we're eating 1,000 things. So we still have to be paying attention to what's actually makes us feel bad and then go back and try to do some detective work and figure it out.
I'm just gonna, obviously, I'm nowhere close to the genius that you are. However, all I can tell you is for me, I know 5,000 ingredients, but I go to what is making me feel good and what my body is asking me to eat. And it seems to be working. It's self-awareness. Not everybody has it, but I think you can reach it. Really do. Very much.
So that's
Yeah.
you know, when you have food diary, even that might be doing it, saying, I want to see it, but in fact, you're making them think. It's like, oh, wait, I did eat that, and my stomach did rumble all night long after I.
We have one more question here at this table.
Yeah, hi there. I'm Jennifer Byrne, and I'm over in University School, and I'm a patient of INIM, and I want to just give a shout out to Dr. Bested and all of the wonderful work that Dr. Klimas, that all of you do at the Institute. Thanks. And I have long COVID. I'm an OG from 2020. Woo! And but I'm gluten-free, I'm vegan, and Michelle, like you were saying, it's made a tremendous difference in my life. My husband and I do meal plan, we cook every week. What I find though is that the challenge is restaurants. It's going out in the community. So I applaud you for making the changes in your own restaurant. But it's really hard when we go out in the community. So I guess my question is there any sense of that, you know, in the restaurant community of the importance or to make those changes so that like people like us we can just go out and have something to eat on every restaurant?
Right now, we're just in the restaurant that's taken a really, really difficult turn. One thing that I'm very excited about though, that I have been to 2 kind of Chinese style, not fully, it's a Chinese style restaurant in the last couple months, both offering tamari instead of soy, which I was, you know, oh my God, this is amazing. Offering, you know, certain things. I found like they were asking me all the allergies at the table. And then everything came with a little check mark on it to make sure that it was good. Yeah, and so those things, I think that we're all, as chefs, we're all getting a little smarter and listening to people. I think that now we know how to handle intolerances and issues that people have, whereas I had chefs that used to roll their eyes on it and just be like, just give them whatever, you know. And that's how I grew up, realizing what not to do. But I think that especially the younger generation knows that there are people out there that will keep coming if we take care of them. So yes, I think things are only getting better, but not everybody's listening.
Slow, very slow.
We have one question. I don't know if you can answer the question for this, but Carrie wants to know, when are you going to write a cookbook with recipes based on your new eating habits?
Carrie, I already started.
Oh, great. Awesome. All right, I'm sorry, there's another question? Oh, hold on, wait, okay, hold on. All right, they're all the way at the bottom, so, all right, well, I want to, once again, thank everybody for coming. It's an amazing turnout. I want to thank Chef Michelle Bernstein for her time. I want to thank Dr. Klimas and Dr. Rozenfeld. And if you will indulge me, will everybody that works in the Institute just stand so that we can recognize all of you? Some amazing, amazing clinicians and truly some of the best human beings you're ever going to meet. So thank you once again for coming. If you want information, let us know. If you want to be on our mailing list, McKenna can help you. And we just have a little thank you for everyone, for the three of you for your time today.